Hi, and welcome to the More webinar series. My name is Brian Cristini, and I'm a product manager here at FiberLink. And today we will be presenting a 5-step process for businesses to reduce wireless spend. First, I'm going to do a quick overview of what we're seeing with mobility, in particular wireless growth in the enterprise, as a lead into today's presentation topic. A mobile world gone wild. Wireless usage for business users has skyrocketed over the past several years as networks have become faster, more reliable, and globally ubiquitous. And there doesn't appear to be any signs of this slowing down in the near future, as more and more employees expect to be able to work outside of the office to get their work done while managing a work-life balance. And for the most part, it's allowed. But there's a lot more than just a better network that is contributing to growth. Content is now so much more than text on a web page. It's multimedia such as streaming video and music, social networking, SaaS and other cloud-based applications, and so much more, all of which is more data intensive. To throw a wrench in it all, the days of unlimited usage plans for mobile data devices could be coming to an end, and in some cases already has, as announced by AT&T with their new usage-based pricing plans, and Verizon has also announced the same when they roll out LTE. Not to mention, unlimited plans overseas are typically not an option, and international roaming and Wi-Fi charges can be very expensive. To back this up, a new survey from the Economics Intelligence Unit of a London law firm of hundreds of wireless industry executives from around the world found strong support for a switch from flat-rate mobile data plans to usage-based models over the next 3 years. Additionally, the survey showed that 55% of those surveyed agreed usage-based models are coming to mature markets, and 47% said flat-rate plans are crimping their ability to increase revenue, which is a sure sign that things will change. As wireless growth continues and pricing changes occur, the issue for businesses, of course, is that there are limited tools available to help manage and control this wireless growth today. So what this all means is that it's probably time to start thinking about your mobile strategy, tools, and policies once again. And that's what we're here to walk through today, a 5-step process to help you manage or reduce your mobile usage and associated spend. All of these points we will touch on in more detail over the next couple slides, and I'm calling it a process because, as you'll see, all the points more or less tie together and are sequential. Now, I'm sure all the companies on this webinar have at some point put together a wireless spend, budget, forecast, and set up some type of usage policies. And with the recent hardships with the economy, I'm sure there's been at least 1 or 2 conversations around how to cut and control wireless costs. So this isn't necessarily meant to replace something that your company has already put together, though it may, and for those searching for best practices, this can definitely help. But I would like to think that this 5-step process, if executed, should at least help verify what you already have in place. Trust but verify. The 5 steps we'll discuss are: don't be afraid of free, create intelligence from connection data, develop your wireless strategy, leverage tools for enforcement, and enable user self-management. Originally, I had this bullet point number 5 on the list, but one of my coworkers, Jonathan, said, you know what, you should move this to number 1 and start with a bold statement. At first I was a little hesitant and thought people sometimes are afraid of free, for security reasons and just ad gimmicks. But after thinking about it for a couple more seconds, as it really only took that long, there's little question that the best way to start saving money on wireless now is to leverage free immediately. Don't be afraid of using free Wi-Fi. Many major retail locations are offering it, and in many cases it's carrier run as they try to offload mobile data traffic. So it's not just the mom and pop shops. There are tens and thousands of free locations in the US alone. To back that up, new data released by mobile media company Jywire, which recorded data for some 315,000 plus Wi-Fi locations in June, shows that free Wi-Fi hotspots in the US outnumber paid Wi-Fi locations for the first time. Jywire indicated that 55% of US locations are now offering free Wi-Fi. Not surprisingly, hotels and cafes offer the most free Wi-Fi access, while hotels, cafes, and airports continue to be the primary Wi-Fi venues. That's huge, and it's there for the taking. Yes, it might take your users 60 seconds to register and get connected, but depending on the size of your company, it can easily save you thousands of dollars a month. Your employees should leverage free. Gyrowire provides a free application for iPhones and an online lookup of free locations around the globe. My biggest concern here is companies still need to balance productivity. They need to make sure users have a seamless interface and connection process that they can use regardless of location or connection type that helps secure the endpoint and the connection. So something to think about there. And of course, for some users, they still need to get connected whether there is a free Wi-Fi hotspot or not without lost productivity. So unfortunately, you will probably need more than just free Wi-Fi. Moving on and thinking a little more in depth about how you will go about creating your mobile strategy around wireless usage, you'll first need to arm yourself with your own data. Even though this seems obvious, you need to monitor your users' data with tools within your control. Carrier data that you may get months later can help, but realistically, you need a complete picture of all usage, which probably requires a data collection tool around connections and potentially a BI or analytics tool to bring all that provider data together. This really isn't about figuring out whether Verizon charged you correctly, like a traditional telecom expense management solution, though that can also help, as I believe I saw a recent study quoting that carrier bills have an average of around 7% margin of error, which could be a nice chunk of change for some companies. But this is about understanding employee behavior and answering the simple questions such as, what employees are using what technologies and how much, what carriers are being utilized, what transports are being utilized, what mobile data devices are being utilized, and conversely, which ones aren't, and where are the users connecting from. And then once you mine the data, you want to start logically grouping those user patterns so that you can set policies across broader groups. Next, once you have some logical groups, use this data to develop a strategy that works for you or to verify what you already have in place, though noting the recent changes in things like usage-based pricing, and of course mobile technologies are advancing, so it is a great time to reevaluate now. Main points: not all users are created equal. Again, may be obvious, but make sure it's being applied. Not all users need embedded devices because the hardware is more expensive. Not all users need their own device. Some users don't need roaming enabled. Some users should be fine with tethering their smartphone, which can save on device management and procurement time. Some users don't need access to any device, and limit them only to free Wi-Fi. So in summary, match the users or groups of users with technologies that make sense. Now that people have the technologies they should have, at least in theory, you'll need some tools to enforce and manage this. As a reference point, according to a recent study done by Anomalous Networks with its carrier partners, the average North American enterprise spends 20% more than budgeted on mobile plans due to in-month unforeseen events such as plan overages and roaming charges. This is in addition to just the growing number of users accessing wireless. It's a lot, and should be reason enough for the need for controls. So I've been on this first point a little more lately, as the number of people in the mobile bucket is growing for all the reasons mentioned above, but from what I'm hearing, I think something is being left off in a lot of this mobile enablement, which is that wireless is a privilege. And though employees expect to be mobile, the back office still needs to be in control of this. They need tools to set policies, to enforce limits, to track usage, so that they can optimize spend and compliance. Businesses need a mobile policy engine to set and enforce policies for the different user buckets we discussed above, such as, for mobile data, have the ability to track on-network and off-network usage, as pricing can vary greatly, or disable roaming for users that don't need it. Have the ability to stop users from connecting when they reach their predefined data limits, or at least alert them that it has been reached. Have the ability to shut down Wi-Fi connections that are inactive for long periods of time, as international Wi-Fi can be as much as $25 an hour. Have alerts to the end user as they near their usage limits, i.e. 75% is reached, so that they can move to another connection if possible. Have the reporting capabilities to track this on or near real time, and then over time for trending and plan alignment. If you have connection management software that allows for automatic connections, as most do these days, ensure you can manage it, or add and remove transports as needed, as well as set connection type preferences, so that Ethernet is always ahead of mobile data, i.e. if your users at home connected to mobile data and they come into the office, make sure that when they plug in the Ethernet connection, the mobile data engine is shut down and no traffic is transferred over that more expensive mobile data transport. make your wireless strategy your corporate wireless policy, which means that enforcement, or the ability to, is really a requirement for a mobile cost control strategy. On to the last point. Employees aren't trying to rob the corporate bank. They're really not trying to see how much they can ring up in usage charges on their next trip. But as much as we'd all like to think that employees will try to keep costs in check when traveling, it's a lot easier said than done. And in many cases, there are limited tools for them to know what they've already used and what their limits are. So where possible, give your users tools to self-manage their usage. Use tools that can be configured to provide the user with the feedback they need to manage themselves through real-time displays and pop-up alerts. Basically, you want to enable your employees to make the right decision, and this can save you money, which leads to shared responsibility for wireless usage, as there's always going to be instances where enforcement policies don't work for a group of users or time period or whatever. This serves as an alternative, as well as will help shape user behavior and again to make the right decision. Awareness is very important, so make sure employees understand your corporate policy on wireless usage and the tools available. As an immediate takeaway, and to summarize what we talked about so far, number one, if you're looking to save money right now, educate your employees on using free Wi-Fi, especially here in the US. Number two, start building a strategy by looking at your own data and bucketing users as appropriate. 3, based on your data, draft your new strategy or verify your existing one and make users aware of what this is. Number 4, implement policy enforcement controls to help manage usage for your mobile employees. And number 5, enable user self-management to help employees make informed and better decisions. My suggestion is to revisit this annually with the other year-end activities or with major changes in technology or pricing, as there is the potential for a lot of money to be saved on wireless usage if you have a process and at least some of these tools in place. And that wraps this segment of the More series on a 5-step process to reduce wireless spend. For more webinars and to join our community, visit us at the Master Center at maz360.com. Thanks for your time and have a great day.